Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Brian Holman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we talk with Cindy Falk from Kansas Wheat and get a recap of the 2015 Festival of Breads event. And inside Kansas Ag, Kansas Soybean tells us about Ohio Lake soybean production. Then Kansas Farm Bureau talks state budgets. And in news you need to know, we get our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. Russia is extending its ban on food imports from the West for a year. Reports from various media outlets say Russian President Putin extended the ban in retaliation to EU sanctions against Russia over its actions in the Ukraine. The ban prohibits most food imports from the U.S., the EU, Australia, Canada, and Norway. The list of banned products include fruits, vegetables, meat, poultry, fish, and dairy products. Prices of the banned products have virtually doubled under sanctions so far. Falling farm income is resulting in less spending among producers, but the spending drop isn't as steep as expected. Spending for machinery, equipment, and other capital investments peaked at $154 an acre in 2013, according to a report from the University of Illinois. The larger impacts are going to be felt by the equipment dealers, the grain bin industry, as well as anybody that has farmers buy long-term purchases from them. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack announced this week that eligible producers may now formally enroll in the agricultural risk coverage and the price loss coverage programs for the 2014 and 15 year. The enrollment begins June 17th and will end September 30th of 2015. Nationwide, 96% of soybean farmers, 91% of corn farmers, and 66% of wheat farmers elected ARC. 99% of long grain rice farmers, 99% of peanut farmers, and 94% of medium grain rice farmers elected PLC. For data about other crops and state-by-state program election results, go to fsa.usda.gov/ARC/PLC. And in local news, Kansas is one of the fastest growing dairy states in the U.S. according to the Kansas Department of Agriculture. The state's dairy industry grew by 6.1% last year. Kansas currently has more than 325 dairy farms and 143,000 dairy cows. The state produced more than 3.1 billion pounds of milk during 2014. That equates to about 350 million gallons. The value of the milk produced last year in Kansas was $746 million. U.S. Senator Pat Roberts introduced legislation last week that would amend the U.S. tax code to make permanent a 50% depreciation bonus on new equipment and property purchases. This would allow businesses to deduct half the cost of new purchases immediately, freeing up money for reinvestment. Roberts says, this legislation will provide much needed certainty in the tax code so businesses can better plan investments that create more jobs and growth in our communities. Kansas inventory of all hogs and pigs on June 1st was 1.85 million head, according to the USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service. This was up 13% from June 1st of 2014 and up 1% from March of this year. The March through May 2015 Kansas pig crop at 826,000 head was up 9% from 2014. Sows farrowed during the period totaled 83,000 head, up 1% from last year. Up next in our Ag Feature, we talk with Cindy Falk from Kansas Wheat and get a recap of the 2015 Festival of Breads event. If you're watching Kansas Ag Report, please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
I'm Dr. Frank Lyons, a physician here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. As one of the only standalone stem cell centers in the U.S., we use your stem cells as therapy for arthritis and some autoimmune diseases.
I'm Dr. Andrew Pope, here at Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Utilizing the latest technology under strict protocols, we're able to harvest your stem cells from your own fat to treat a variety of medical conditions. The best part about it is, it's a same-day surgical procedure and requires no general anesthesia.
After 35 years of service to Northeast Kansas, you've come to know Dick Edwards as your one-stop shop for all your automotive needs. Housing an inventory of America's best lineup of Ford, Mazda, Lincoln, and Hyundai. Here at our service department, they offer anything from major repairs to quick oil changes to getting out those dents and dings and restoring your automobile back to its normal condition. Now you know why so many people have chosen Dick Edwards for the last 35 years. Dick Edwards Ford, 2 miles east of Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Biodiesel made from sustainable resources is diversifying our fuel supply. This year, biodiesel will displace over 1 billion gallons of fossil fuel nationwide. It's making our economy stronger and our communities healthier. It's working here and across America. Get biodiesel going in your community. Visit americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
We're joined today by Cindy Falk from the Kansas Wheat office, and we're at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan. We're talking about the Festival of Breads. It just happened a couple of weeks ago. So Cindy, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
4th Festival of Breads, huge success.
Yes.
Continues to grow.
Yes. We just completed it here in Manhattan, Kansas, and we took our statewide contest a few years ago and expanded it to a national contest. We had 8 finalists that came into Manhattan, Kansas, plus our major sponsors were all here for our baking contest, and we exceeded numbers like no other. We estimate that we had over 1,000 people that came on Saturday, June 13th for the one-day event. So it was a success, and I have to thank our major sponsors, King Arthur Flour, Red Star Yeast, and of course our Kansas wheat producers.
And that's another thing. The cool thing about the event is you bring the 8 finalists in, they tour a wheat field and talk to a farmer. That's really something special that I would imagine no other baking competition does.
That's correct. And I have just been reading thank you notes that we've been receiving from our 8 finalists. And that is one of the highlights of our contest, is that they enjoyed meeting the farm family. Riding on a combine. Of course, our wheat wasn't ready to harvest, but we had a really nice luncheon at the farm. And then they toured a flour mill, visited a local elevator, and then came back here to Manhattan to tour our plant innovation center.
Well, and King Arthur, we need to make sure that we bring them up. They buy a lot of Kansas wheat. And most of it's milled here too.
That's right. And they had 4 or 5 marketing and communications staff members here throughout the 3-day event. So we're proud to have King Arthur Flour as a major sponsor. And then we took on a new yeast sponsor this year, Red Star Yeast, as well as our local Manhattan Hy-Vee helped us a lot with this event.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the winning recipe and the winning baker. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. See you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're joined by Cindy Falk at the Kansas Wheat office today, and we're at the Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan. We're talking about the Festival of Breads that just happened a couple of weeks ago. So let's jump right into it. Lisa Keys from Pennsylvania was the national winner. Yes. What a great recipe. And you and I were just talking about some of the comments the judges made.
Oh, they loved this recipe from the very first taste. It had an awesome flavor because she used smoked Gouda or cheddar cheese in her recipe. And then it had some tofu, which keeps the bread really moist. And also, I have to say thank you to our Kansas Soybean Commission. They were a sponsor this year, so we appreciated their sponsorship. So her bread not only had tofu and then cheese in it, it had some maple syrup in it.
And we were kind of talking, it's kind of got a Vermont twist on it, kind of going back to her mother-in-law who was from Vermont, cranberries and some other things in it.
Yes. She was inspired by her mother-in-law to develop this recipe. So it's a true Vermont recipe, but the judges really liked it, and I did too when I first tested it because it was such a simple recipe to make, and she entered it in the time-saving and simple category, but it's a simple one-page recipe, easy to make and very easy to shape, but it's very delicious. So it won high marks in every category.
Not only that, she wins $2,500 in cash,
yes.
I believe that's right, and then she's going back to Vermont
yes.
to King Arthur Flour to take a baking class. I mean, it's just kind of a round robin of her for her to win.
Yes, she was a delightful contestant. I must say that all of the 8 finalists were great ladies, bakers. They just felt the love that we had in Kansas, and they enjoyed the visit to Kansas. Some of them have never been to Kansas before. So we had a great team of spokespersons and K-State Extension volunteers that helped us with this event, as well as the other sponsors. So we're just really proud to showcase Kansas wheat and our industry.
Well, not only that, some of these ladies are bloggers as well, and they get to visit a Kansas farm, talk to a Kansas wheat farmer. That message is just spread tenfold.
That's correct. And again, this is more than just a baking contest. Our Kansas Wheat Commissioners wanted it more than a baking contest. They wanted to get the word out about our wheat industry and wheat production. So that's a major part of this contest. You know, Saturday is a fun day to see all the contestants baking their winning recipes, but that trip to the farm, and also this year they really enjoyed coming to our office, seeing the greenhouses and the test kitchen where their recipes were tested at.
They can find the 8 recipes on the National Festival of Bread's website.
That's correct.
And then also coming up in the fall.
Well, we always have our little Kansas Wheat Commission recipe booklet available at our Kansas Wheat booth at the Kansas State Fair. So as you know, we hand out thousands of those little recipe books every year at the State Fair. So come by, visit with us, and hopefully I'll have maybe a few loaves of the winning bread to show you.
Trans fats have been part of our food vocabulary for years. For the past decade, the industry, including the farmers who grow soybeans, has been working to meet food customers' needs for a stable oil without partial hydrogenation, which causes trans fats. The Food and Drug Administration's recent announcement to phase out partially hydrogenated oils did not come as a shock to soybean farmers. In fact, the soybean checkoff has been working with industry on 2 replacements for partially hydrogenated soybean oil for more than 10 years. First, high oleic soybeans produce an oil food companies can use for stability without partial hydrogenation. Farmers currently grow high oleic soybeans in 9 states, with more acreage being added each year. Commodity soybean farmers also can help. By interesterifying commodity soybean oil, processors produce a hard fat, similar to the consistency of margarine, which some baking customers need. High oleic soybeans and interesterified soybean oil will help food companies maintain the taste consumers prefer while using a domestic, sustainable oil. Farmers interested in helping introduce high oleic soybeans to the market should talk to their local seed or processing representative or visit soyinnovation.com on the web.
Thanks for making Kansas Ag Report the most watched ag show in Kansas.
The recent legislative session in Kansas was very challenging, and there were many unknowns relating to the budget and taxes until the final days. Although it set a record for its length, it is not unprecedented for the legislative session to extend past 90 days. For farmers and ranchers in Kansas, the 2015 session as a whole was very positive, and lawmakers should be commended for their tenacity and extended debate on budget and tax issues. The grassroots members of Kansas Farm Bureau worked with lawmakers as they passed water, annexation, and scrap metal bills that were priorities for agriculture. The legislature rebuffed efforts to overturn the state's constitutionally mandated system for use value appraisal of agricultural land. While a minority of urban legislators proposed changes to the agricultural property tax system, they were met with strong opposition time after time. Included in the final tax bill is language supported by our members requiring voters to approve property tax increases by cities and counties in certain circumstances. It was a long, tough session for all, and the process was not always smooth. We do appreciate the legislature's recognition of the continuing importance of agriculture to our state, and we look forward to better times ahead for all of Kansas. We know that, depending on the economy and growth, many challenges remain next year. Kansas Farm Bureau will remain vigilant to protect the immense economic engine that is Kansas agriculture.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in Southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
All the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this?
Yes, we can.
But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
You hear it all the time. Monthly payments of $289, $189, or even $89. How is this done, you ask? Well, with large down payments, low mileage leases, and you must qualify for all rebates offered. Can we do this?
Yes, we can.
But we'd prefer to give you the straight call, where we tell you all the information up front, and you make the decision on what vehicle and payment you want. You won't need bifocals to read the fine print here. Dick Edwards, serving the Manhattan, Fort Riley, and Junction City areas for over 30 years.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
Research has shown no measurable increase in consumer demand from mandatory country of origin labeling to offset costs of the program absorbed by the livestock and meat sectors, which total $8.5 billion. That was the message recently delivered to the U.S. Senate Ag Committee by Kansas Livestock Association President Jarrett Moyer. The Emporia rancher said with the World Trade Organization ruling against U.S. mandatory cool 4 times, the next step will be retaliation by 2 of the nation's top trading partners, Canada and Mexico. According to Moyer, retaliation against U.S. beef exports only would make the industry's losses worse. Testifying on behalf of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and KLA, Moyer strongly urged Congress to repeal mandatory cool now. He said alterations, including an attempt to amend the current rule to replace mandatory with voluntary, would only bring more uncertainty, which is unacceptable to the meat industry. Mexican and Canadian officials sent separate letters to Senator Pat Roberts, the Ag Committee Chair, and Debbie Stabenow, the committee's ranking member, emphasizing retaliation is imminent unless action is taken to fully repeal mandatory cool. An estimated $3.2 billion in sanctions is expected on U.S. products that range from meat and chocolate to jewelry and furniture.
Good morning. I'm Eric Osterhaus with Paragon Ag Advisors. All eyes are now solidly on the upcoming June 30th USDA report, where in addition to the latest supply and demand information, we'll also hear the latest estimate in regards to planted acres. This particular report has had a history of being a market mover in years past and could give us the same fireworks this year as well. One of the important things to remember with this report is that it's largely based on interviews regarding planting expectations from the first part of June. In some areas, the rains have seriously hampered planting pace, so some of those acres in areas in Kansas and Missouri may not have gotten in as of today. This news, however, may not be reflected yet in this report. It appears that, at least for the moment, world concerns regarding grease and its effect on the dollar are taking backstage to fundamental news in the grains leading into this report. So the table is set for a little uncertainty premium to be added back in. We've also started hearing some early returns on wheat harvest, and the early returns seem to point to a better than expected crop in the western parts of Kansas, but some spotty results the further east that you go. It appears that it might be the soft wheat areas further east that you may see some quality and yield issues. If you have questions on these markets or any markets, please call Paragon Ag Advisors at 888-452-8751. Have a productive week.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Brian Holman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.